Hello, the purpose of this demonstration is to see how to publish a course with a quiz to an LMS, and after importation in this LMS, the way we can see a report of this course once completed by a trainee. To begin, I've made up this demonstration in several parts. In the first part, we will see how this course is set up. In the second part, how to configure this course to the SCORM standard to report to LMS. To do so, I will use a reporting panel. In the third part, I will publish this course for a learning management system by using the Publish menu. In the fourth part, I will upload the course created in a learning management system, and I'll use a SCORM Cloud as example. Then I will launch this course with a trainee profile in order to test it and to get a report. Finally, in the fifth part, we will see the report of the completed course. Let's begin by looking at how my course is set up. This course is built as an usual course, with a slide of presentation, 3 slides for the contents, and a quiz to finish. The text for the contents is just here as example. I have also included buttons for the browsing in these slides. The quiz is just after, and unlike the contents for the slides, it's a real quiz with real questions and answers. To introduce this quiz, it contains 5 questions that are made with multiple choices. True/false, and matching. And at the end, a result slide is set up. In regard to the points, each question has a number of points equal to 10. That means that each time that a user will give a correct answer, he will get 10 points. Concerning the minimum score required to succeed to this quiz, I've defined it to 40 points. I have entered this number in the Quiz Preferences menu, and the Pass or Fail option. That means that when a user gets 40 points or more, the learning management system will report the quiz as succeed. On the contrary, if the user gets less, the LMS will report it as failed. Nevertheless, know that when we define a score in points and not in percentage here, that often LMSs convert the points as a percentage. This changes anything in terms of threshold of success or fail, but in this example, 40 points on 50 will match to 80% in a learning management system. However, if you want to simplify your project and define the success score as a percentage directly, enter it in the percentage field. Now we've seen how this course has been set up, let's continue to the second part. To configure a Captivate course to report to an LMS, we use the Quiz Preferences menu. So we go back where we were. And here in the category table, we use a reporting menu. Notice that this menu is selected by default when you launch the Quiz Preferences menu. This reporting menu displays many options. The first one is a quick checkbox. With this checkbox, you define whether you want to report your course to an LMS or not. If you don't want, untick this box and no need to enter data here. But given that the objective of our demonstration is to publish this course for an LMS, we select this checkbox. The next step is to define the learning management system we are going to use. To do so, we click on the LMS drop-down menu, where several choices are offered. If you have Moodle, select Moodle. If you have an internal server, select Internal Server. If your LMS doesn't appear in this list, select Other Standards LMSs. You also have Adobe Connect or Perception if it is one of the tools that your company uses. But for this course, I select Other Standard LMSs. On your side, if you are not sure, ask your LMS administrator. Once done, we must select the e-learning standard compliant with the learning management system defined. To do so, we use the standard drop-down menu where several choices appear. SCORM 1.2, SCORM 2004, AECC, and Tin Can. To briefly introduce these standards, AECC was the first e-learning standard, followed by SCORM 1.2, then SCORM 2004, and finally Tin Can. Notice that SCORM 1.2 and 2004 are still widely used and supported by most LMSs today. For this demonstration, I select SCORM 2004. But on your side, select the standard compliant with the LMS you've defined at the previous step. And if you're not sure, ask your LMS administrator. The next step is the Configure button. By clicking on, a new window displays. It's the manifest of the course. The manifest aims to identify your course and its structure. From a technical point of view, the manifest becomes an XML file after a Captivate publishing that will be used to import information of your project into your LMS. In e-learning terms, we call it IMS manifest. To give you an example of what this file looks like, here is an example. The main information of the course, such as the title of the course, the lesson, its description, and other appear. They are retrieved from this form once the Captivate file is published. Now let's look at in detail the fields of this window. We first have the SCORM version section. Here we have to select one of the SCORM 2004 edition that our LMS takes into account. Notice that if you don't have defined a SCORM 2004 at the previous step, you won't have this section displayed. So no need to define an edition number in this case. For this course, since I've selected SCORM 2004 as a standard at the previous step, I had to make a choice. I've selected the 4th edition. But on your side, choose the edition that works with your LMS or ask your LMS administrator. Then we have the course section and the scope section. What's the difference between both? Let's look at this picture. Here we have the Captivate course and the scope. The scope is inside the course. It represents your project with your content, animation, quiz, and so on. The course section is like a wrapper that contains the scope. This means that in the course section, you define information that represent your course, and in the scope section, information that represent your lesson. Let's see the form of the course section. The first field is Identifier. This field is used by the LMS to identify the manifest. A default identifier, based on the name of your Captivator project, is automatically entered by default. But you can change it. It's what I've done. Nevertheless, notice that this name won't appear in a learning management system to the trainer or trainee. It's just a variable that identifies the course within the manifest. To show you that, I launch the IMS manifest file again, and you can see here that the identifier is only displayed as a variable. Then we have the title field. This field represents the title of your course. This one will appear as main title in your learning management system. So name it with a name that defines your course correctly. For my part, I've called it Publishing a Captivator Course for Learning Management System. Then we have the description field. In this field, enter a summary of your course. In the version field, specify the version number of your course. For a first version, you can enter 1. But if you have made an update and want to keep the previous version in your learning management system, don't forget to change this number. After, the duration field consists in entering the time you estimate for trainees to follow this course from start to finish. Enter the time you estimate. For this demonstration, I've defined it to 4 minutes. Finally, the keywords field aims to enter keywords that identify your course, and from which an LMS search engine will be able to display it. The keywords I have defined here are just as example. We have completed this section, but know that the version, duration, and keyword features are not mandatory and can be deactivated. It's up to you to define if you want more data to identify your course. But whatever these features are, displayed or not, your Captivate course will work in your LMS. Now let's look at the SCO section. A SCO in e-learning terms is a learning unit. It represents here your lesson with its content. The identifier field works like the identifier of the course. A value is automatically assigned by Captivate, and here the goal of this data is to identify your learning unit within the IMS manifest file. Nevertheless, its value won't appear in your LMS to your trainer or trainees. You can change it if you want, but for my part, I left it as it is. Then we have the title field. Enter here a title that represents your lesson or learning unit. Once you have finished, you've completed this form. So, validate your data by clicking on OK button. Now we have defined our LMS and identified our course, we are going to define how our LMS will track and report the learner's progress. To do so, we have several sections to be defined. The completion criteria section aims to determine when the course is considered to be complete by the learner. The success criteria section, when the course is succeeded by the learner. The data to report section aims to define whether we want to report user interaction data in the LMS or not. This means, for example, displaying in detail the questions attempted in the quiz and the given answers. For people who don't know what we are talking about, here is an example of a report that we can get in a LMS after a course performed by a trainee. We have a criteria of completion, complete or incomplete. Criteria of success, with pass or failed according to the result. and an interaction panel where questions and given answer from a quiz can be reported. Of course, the display in your learning management system will be different, but you'll find the same criteria by using SCORM 2004. Let's see now these sections in details. In the completion criteria section, we have two options to determine when the course is considered as complete. The first one is by user access. This option means that when a learner launches the course, this one will be marked as complete by the LMS, even if the learner has only seen one or two slides. From a training point of view, it's not very efficient, and we rarely use this option. The second option is slide views and/or quiz. This option contains two settings. By selecting the slide views checkbox, your course is considered as complete when a learner has viewed all your slides or just some of them. You define the number you want in percentage or in number of slides by selecting the percentage or slide option. Then by entering the figure you wish by clicking in the field. For this demonstration, I have entered 100%. This means that this course will be considered as complete when the learner will have viewed all the slides of this course. The second setting is quiz. You can select the checkbox or not, but if you select it with the slide views option, this means that your course will be considered as complete when both criteria of your slide views and quiz will have been reached. The options for the quiz are: quiz is attempted. With this option, once a learner will have launched the quiz, this one will be considered as complete regardless of whether the learner has succeeded or failed. With quiz is passed, the quiz will be considered as complete if the trainee has reached the number of points defined in the pass or fail menu, defined in point or percentage previously. The last option considers the course as complete either when the quiz is passed or when its attempt limit, defined in the pass or fail menu, has been reached. To summarize with this quiz menu, do not forget that if you select one option along with the slide views, that your two settings must be reached together in order to report your course as complete. But on my side, I deselect the quiz for this demonstration and prefer using the completion criteria for the course and a criterion of success in the success criteria section. Let's see now this section. The user access means that your course will be considered as a success when the learner launches it, and even if he has only seen one or two slides, it will be marked as a success. It's not very efficient, and we rarely use this option. The slide views and/or quiz option works like in completion criteria, except that we define here a criterion of success. You can select the slide views option to enter the number of slides to be viewed for a success in percentage or number of slides. You can also select the quiz is passed. In this case, the learning management system will return an input of success when a learner reaches the number of points defined in the pass or fail menu. For this demonstration, I only select quiz is passed. I've ended with this section, and to summarize the choices I've made so far, I've defined a criterion of completion based on the course here, and a criterion of success based on the quiz here. Now we have the data to report. If as a trainer or manager you want to get a detailed report about the question attempted in your quiz and the answers provided by your learners, select the Interaction Data checkbox. If you don't want, don't select it. Then we have an LMS initialization text field. In this field, you can enter a text that will appear while your course is being loaded in your learning management system. You can enter the message you want. For this demonstration, I've simply entered "Your course is loading." Finally, we have an advanced button. With this button, you can finalize the settings. Send data on every slide means that after every slide, an interaction detail will be sent to the learning management system. It's better to select the checkbox if you want to get details about given answers from a quiz that is not yet finished. Never send resume data concerns the restart of a course not yet completed. For example, when a learner launches his course again after taking a break, will he go back to the first page or the last page he has seen? By selecting the checkbox, the learner will go back to the first page. By not selecting it, he will access to the page at which he left off earlier. We usually let the checkbox not selected to avoid learners to restart from the beginning. Set exit to normal after completion concerns the restart of a course successfully completed. By selecting the checkbox, a learner will be able to launch and follow again this course from the beginning. By not selecting it, the course's status will stay as completed. The escape version and session ID setting converts the version and session ID to an HTTP link encoded. We usually use this option, so if you want to use it also, select the checkbox. The field below works with this setting. In this field, you can type the character that you don't want to include in the escape version and session ID. Finally, when you agree with the settings you have defined in this window, validate them with the OK button. Well, we have now finished configuring this reporting menu in order to publish our course to an LMS. So we can validate this window. This part is completed. We are now going to publish this course. To publish a course to an LMS, we use the Publish menu. Then in the Publish window, we select HTML5 SWF in the drop-down menu. In the project title field, we enter the name of the Captivate project. Notice that this title won't be the name that will appear in the LMS. The name that will be displayed in the Learning Management System will be the one we have entered at the previous step in the Manifest window. In the Location field, define the path where this Captivate course will be saved on your computer. The zip file checkbox must be selected. Don't forget that when we publish to an LMS, the file is often a zip file because the generated zip will be what we call the SCORM package. It will contain all files enabling the communication between the Captivate course and the LMS. Nevertheless, it's possible to upload a course in LMS that is not a zip file, and we usually do that when we consider a course just as an asset or when the course doesn't really require a tracking or report. But it's not the case for this demonstration, and we select the checkbox. The output format is related to the Captivate project and object you have used to design your course, but also with devices and browsers that your trainees will use to access to this course. For instance, if your project is not a responsive design project, uses any HTML5 options, and you're sure that your trainees will use a browser that can run with Flash, you can only select SWF. But whether you're not sure, or wish to extend the possibilities, or for any other reasons, select the HTML5 button in addition. But for this demonstration, I only select SWF, it's enough. Beneath, you can also select the Flash player used by your target audience or available on your company's network. Once you've made your choice, the More button displays settings we can adjust if needed. To do so, just click on the blue text of the setting you want to change and perform the change in the displayed window. then validate. I cancel to go back, and now we have finished. We can click on Publish. A Publish Progress window opens. And a successful message. It's done. This course is published to the SCORM format. To show you now the result, I'm going to open its folder. We can see that a zip file has correctly been created. It has the given name in the project title field. And if I extract it, we can see that many files related to the SCORM format have been generated. And among them, an IMS manifest file containing data we have entered in the manifest window previously. Everything being okay, we are now going to import this created zip file from a learning management system and check this course. To show you how to import a created course in a learning management system, I'm going to use a SCORM Cloud. SCORM Cloud works like an LMS. It allows you either to test a course before its implementation in your LMS in order to check that everything is okay, or to identify a problem that your course can have in your current LMS by tracking here what's wrong. SCORM Cloud is used by many e-learning designers and developers, and these tools support all LMS standards such as SCORM, AECC, or TINCAN. So do not hesitate to use it also, and it's free. Let's begin. I enter my login and password. And once entered, I'm going to import the Captivate course created. To do so, I select the Library button. In the Course Upload template, select Go to Course Upload. Then the Browse button to upload my zip file. Once done, I select Import Course. The file is uploading, and once finished, a page related to this course is created. The title is well the one I've defined in the Captivate manifest window, and you can see in the test track part that criteria such as completion, success score, and total time are unknown or not yet defined. It's normal, this course hasn't been launched yet. Now I could launch this course from my user profile directly to test it, but doing so won't mimic a true learner experience. For this reason, I'm going to assign this course to a trainee profile by creating an invitation, and after, performing this course from this invitation as trainee. To create this invitation, I select People, then the checkbox of the trainee profile, and click on Invite. I select the course uploaded, Private Invitation, and a form displays. You can notice that fields are already filled, and that variables such as course description and course duration are present in the email body. These ones will retrieve the data we have defined in the Captivate manifest window. Everything is okay, and I click on Create Invitation. The invitation has been sent correctly, and now I'm going to perform this course as trainee by opening a new browser. In the email box, I select the received message with the invitation, and in the body, we can see the name of the course, as well as description and duration entered earlier in the Captivate manifest. Having said that, I click now on the link in order to perform this course as trainee. The course is launching. I resize the window and adjust the zoom in order you can see all. Now we have this course displayed. I'm going to follow it as trainee and begin by clicking on enter. I skim through the content in order to move on and arrive to the quiz. The purpose here will be to give one wrong answer on 5 in order to succeed with a score of 40 points in the final result panel and a display of 80% in the learning management system. I begin. I give a true answer here. A true answer. And the wrong answer here. I continue with the true answer. And a true answer. I've finished, and in the final result panel, we can see that I have succeeded with a score of 40 points on 50 as defined in Captivate, and that the accuracy number of 80% should be the percentage of success that we should see in the learning management system. Let's go and see that. I close the window and go back to SCORM Cloud as administrator to check if the report is correct. To see and check the report of the course I did as trainee, I open SCORM Cloud as administrator again and select the trainee profile I used. The trainees page displays, and in the course registration part beneath, I select View Detail on the line of the course I've followed. In the new page, I have first a summary of what I did. We can see that the completion status is complete, and it's correct because I've well been viewed all the slides as defined in Captivate. The success status is passed. It's also correct because I've reached the number of points defined in the Captivate Pass or Fail menu. Here the score of 40 points on 50 has been translated in percentage and matches to 80%. Now to get more details and access to the quiz result question by question, I click on Reportage. On course activity details, we can see the same information, and notice that the title of the score we have defined in the Captivate Manifest window appears here beneath the name of the course and as a part of this one. Now to access to the quiz result question by question, I select the Interactions panel on the right-hand side. In the response column, the given answers by the learner are displayed. I enlarge this table in order to give you a large view. The correct answers are in green, the wrong answers in red, and we can see the wrong answer I've given. We can also identify each question, their type, and weight. In this case, 10 points are marked as defined in Captivate. Now, if you make a comparison with your learning management system, this type of report should be different in yours with another presentation or display. Nevertheless, the same information should appear if your LMS supports SCORM 2004. And the goal of this report is to allow trainers or managers to see where a trainee makes mistakes in order to help him or her afterwards. Now, a last point I want to show you is a number that appears next to each question. What does it mean and where does it come from? These numbers are the question's ID. An ID identifies each question and comes from Captivate. If I display Captivate again and select the first question, you can see at the bottom of the quiz panel an interaction ID field with a number. This number is generated by Captivate automatically and is the same we can see in the LMS report next to each question. For example, this one matches to the first question. Within Captivate, it's possible to change a number for one or many questions. For example, it could be useful to change them in order to classify questions logically according to a topic. And afterwards, it will be easier to search for one of them in a LMS. For instance, if as a trainer I've defined 100 questions and I'm interested to see the result of a very important one whose I know the ID, I would just have to enter this one in the search field and its detailed result will display, like this. Well, I'm arriving at the end of this demonstration. I have showed you how to publish a course with a quiz to an LMS, how to see and check a report, and I hope that you've been interested by this video.